Cranky Yankee coming back to you with another video, and today we're going to be actually looking at, in this video, we're going to be looking at the incident between Daniel Kvyat and Nico Hulkenberg. So this was actually under the underpass, so under the stadium itself. I know a lot of people missed this, and it happened really late, and the decision was made ironically. Notice how when something happens and particular parties aren't involved, remember in Japan where there's a first lap incident and it was made hours later, this happened kind of the same, something similar, and the decision was made in 20 minutes. And this was on the last lap, mind you. So anyways, throw that out there. But that's the setup. This is the last lap, one of the last turns. Here's the stadium. And actually, Daniel, and I mentioned in the video where I said Max Verstappen went for something no one ever has pulled off, maybe tried, but Kvyat goes against Hulkenberg. He goes for the late dive. Hulkenberg actually cut it off by moving over to the left. When he moved over to the left, it kind of changed the trajectory of his exit into this turn. So you'll see some understeer, or you'll see some wheel correction and some wheel spin right there. He has to correct his line. I think this does set up the incident because Kvyat smells that like a shark on water. Goes for the outside in pinch, which he basically bluffed it. He faked it on the previous turn, the outside in pinch, and then went for a late dive. That threw Hulkenberg off. So it was really smart by Kvyat. His engineer gets on the radio like two turns ago and says, this is your last time, last chance. And so I think Kvyat's obviously really motivated to make this happen. They're both in the points at this point, but he goes for the late pinch. Hulkenberg takes a lot of curbs, so you know he's going to have a pretty poor exit. Kvyat smells that, and Hulkenberg's really wide. Kvyat sees his chance, and that was the outside in pinch that I was talking about. They approach the turn. Hulkenberg seems to know he's there, gives him a tiny bit of space. He says in the interview, I gave him plenty of space. Plenty is pushing it, but I get it. He doesn't have to he's not entitled to give him that space in this particular instance, given that he's not in any real overtaking position. He has no real business going for this. And so when he touches him a lot earlier than I think Hulkenberg realizes, which is why I think he made that comment. But the penalty was fine. It was fine. I'm not here to talk about the penalty itself in terms of whether it was appropriate, but here he goes for he said he fakes the outside in. He makes Hulkenberg spin. He goes for it one more time, but it pulls it off this time. Hulkenberg gets outside to the left. Maybe that's what he was talking about by plenty of space, but he touches him right there. That's the contact. Hulkenberg, and you see his wheel kind of lifting off. That's not the centripetal force of him turning right. That's a bit of that, but also him turning in, knocking out his back wheel. He gets off that front right a little bit, and that's where he could have. This happened to Hulkenberg. I can't remember what race, and if you remember, call me out. But when Hulkenberg flipped, and he's got that famous line where I'm hanging here like a cow, that Drive to Survive love to talk about and use in their promo. But so you see him clip him there. He clips him real early. Hulkenberg slides, and Kvyat just goes about his way on the last lap, crosses the line, and actually gets demoted from what this. I think this left him at P8. If results held, he was not promoted. He was demoted to P11. Hulkenberg actually was able to finish, got to P10 based on the demotion, and that's how things kind of shuffled around. So that was the breakdown, and I'm going to show you just from Hulkenberg's point of view for fun, so you could see kind of like. This was probably a little jarring to Hulkenberg, honestly. So, again, the outside in fake, leaves him room. Hulkenberg overcorrects. The outside in again. Hulkenberg takes too much curve. Let's head over to him. And so you can see him already getting to the outside. I don't think this was on purpose, though. He was just happened to be wide based on the incident itself. And he's in second gear, and you could hear the contact right there. And look at his wheel. It's like that SpongeBob whirlwind meme. Like you can't even. It's kind of like rattling and jarring. And he's gearing down. It looks like makes the contact. A few cars go by. He's smartly waiting for everyone to get past. Unlike Vettel and Monza, that was a situation where he just pulled out and almost got in a wreck. So Hulkenberg being really smart there. But again, let's go back. I kind of want to hear it when he gets touched. It is pretty loud. So here's where Hulkenberg gets to the left, see him coming, gets over. You can see him kind of inch. You see him that little inch over back to the left. It's a little bit early. He's trying to defend a late dive, which he successfully does, but ends up getting pushed wide here. Takes too much of that curb. Gets to the outside, take a little too much curb there as well. Let's see if we can hear it. I'm pausing it just to kind of mute everything out, and now let's hear it. Yeah, you can hear it. That car sounds really guttural though, so it's hard to hear. But yeah, he gets kind of tipped from the back. One car goes by, two cars goes by, and you can see him about to go there, but he's being smart. His front left wheel's ruined. But yep, that's the breakdown of the Hulkenberg Kvyat penalty. Most people missed it. I wrote about it, but I didn't get to make the video. So hopefully you enjoy this, and subscribe and let me know if you want any requests coming up. Thanks a lot.